The afternoon sun streamed through the windows of Bluebird Diner, painting everything gold. Lily Anderson stood behind the counter, her feet aching in worn white sneakers. 26 years old, 3 years working this same floor. Every crack in the linoleum memorized, every customer's usual order known by heart. She wiped down the counter for what felt like the 100th time that day. Her fingers smelled like coffee and cheap hand soap. The tips jar sat beside the register. Lily counted silently. $42. She needed 237 more for rent, due in 3 days. The math never worked out. It never did. She caught her reflection in the chrome napkin dispenser, brown hair pulled back in a ponytail, green eyes tired but determined. No makeup, no jewelry except the small cross necklace her mother had given her, the one she never took off. Lily had learned to make herself invisible in this diner. Head down, smile ready, serve fast. Don't complain. But there was one customer who saw her, really saw her. Margaret Sterling sat in the corner booth, the one bathed in afternoon light. She came every single day, had for 6 months now, always alone, always elegant despite her clothes hanging looser each week. 80 years old, silver hair and a perfect chignon, eyes that still sparkled with intelligence, hands that trembled slightly when she lifted her coffee cup. Lily approached with the pot, hot and fresh, the way Margaret liked it. More coffee, Mrs. Sterling? The old woman smiled. You're an angel, dear. Lily poured, watched Margaret's face, saw the exhaustion there, the weight of something unspoken. 6 months ago, Margaret had started ordering just black coffee, nothing else. She would sit for hours, watching the street, lost in thoughts she never shared. Lily had noticed she never ate. Week 1, Lily had brought a muffin, claimed it was extra from the kitchen, a lie. She had bought it with her own tip money. Margaret had refused. I can't accept charity. But Lily was stubborn. It's not charity, it's friendship. I hate eating alone. Week 2, Margaret had started talking. Stories about Boston in the 1960s, about dancing, about life. Then came the revelation. I was a prima ballerina, Margaret had said one rainy afternoon. Boston Ballet, 1962 to 1975. Lily had leaned forward, fascinated. That's incredible. I gave it up when I married Richard. Margaret's voice had gone quiet. He said it wasn't appropriate for a Sterling wife. The pain in those words had made Lily's chest tight. Now, 4 months later, Lily brought food every day. Soup, sandwiches, fruit, always claiming there were extras, always lying. Margaret ate slowly, gratefully, never quite meeting Lily's eyes. The unspoken understanding between them was this. Margaret needed help. Lily would give it. Neither would acknowledge the truth, but there was something else, something Margaret was hiding. 2 weeks ago, Margaret had dropped her prescription bottle. The orange plastic had clattered on the table, pills scattering across the worn surface. Lily had bent to help, picked up the bottle, read the label before she could stop herself. Carvedillo, stage 3, congestive heart failure. Her blood had gone cold. Margaret had snatched it back, face pale. Please don't tell anyone. Mrs. Sterling, you need to. Promise me. Margaret's voice had been steel-wrapped in velvet. Especially not my son. Lily had promised, against every instinct, against all logic, she had promised. Now she watched Margaret eat the chicken soup she had bought that morning. $7 from her tips, worth every penny to see some color return to those pale cheeks. Tommy O'Brien emerged from the kitchen. 58, Irish-American, owner of Bluebird Diner for 30 years. His face was grim. Lily, need to talk to you. She followed him to the back, away from customers, away from Margaret's knowing eyes. Tommy held a letter, official looking, legal. We got 90 days. Lily's stomach dropped. What? Developers bought the whole block. His voice cracked. Atlantic Wharf residences, luxury condos. They're tearing it all down. The world tilted. Bluebird Diner, her home for 3 years, the only stable thing in her life since her mother died. Can we fight it? Tommy shook his head, defeat in every line of his weathered face. Can't fight progress, kiddo. Lily looked around, the vintage Coca-Cola signs, the cracked leather booths, the counter where she had served 1,000 cups of coffee. Home, all of it disappearing in 90 days. She returned to the floor, forced a smile, refilled Margaret's water glass with shaking hands. If Margaret noticed, she said nothing. The afternoon stretched on, golden light fading to amber. Customers coming and going, Lily moving through familiar rhythms while her heart broke quietly. She had no idea what was about to happen. She had no idea that in approximately 20 minutes, her entire life would change forever. The first sign was Tommy's voice, sharp with shock. Mother of God! Lily turned from wiping table 5, followed his pointing finger to the window. The street outside Bluebird Diner was blocked, completely blocked. 20 black Escalades, identical, gleaming in the late afternoon sun, lined up like soldiers preparing for war. Men in dark suits stood beside each vehicle, earpieces visible, sunglasses despite the fading light. They moved with military precision, creating a perimeter. Rain had started, light autumn drizzle. It streamed off their umbrellas like mercury. The diner fell silent. Every customer stopped mid-conversation, forks frozen halfway to mouths, coffee cups suspended in air. Lily's heart hammered. Is that the president? Margaret's whisper cut through the silence. No, worse. She looked up, met Margaret's terrified eyes. It's my son! Before Lily could process those words, the door exploded open. The bell above nearly ripped from its hinge, and he walked in. The man who entered seemed to consume all the oxygen in the room. He was perhaps 6'1", not exceptionally tall, but his presence made him feel like a giant, devastatingly handsome in a way that felt dangerous. Sharp cheekbones, jaw like carved granite, dark hair styled with careless perfection. Eyes so dark they appeared black. The suit he wore probably cost $8,000, perfectly tailored, every line precise. A Rolex caught the light at his wrist, but it was his face that made Lily's breath stop. Cold, controlled, absolutely furious. Every person in the diner froze, literally stopped moving, like prey animals sensing a predator. His gaze swept the room, dismissed the other customers without thought, locked onto the corner booth, onto Margaret. His eyes flickered, just for a second. Relief maybe, or pain. Then the mask slammed back into place. Mother, his voice was steel, each syllable precisely articulated. We're leaving, now. 4 more men in suits entered behind him, forming a protective semicircle. Someone pulled out their phone, started recording. Margaret set down her coffee cup. Her hand didn't shake. I'm having lunch, Nathan. Nathan. The name clicked in Lily's mind. Nathan Sterling. She had seen him on the news, on magazine covers. Forbes, Business Insider. The 34-year-old CEO who had taken his father's real estate empire and quintupled its value in 5 years. Known as the Ice King of Boston. The man who never smiled, who crushed competitors without mercy, who had been reported building the tallest residential tower in New England. And that man was Margaret's son. The sweet, gentle woman who came to Bluebird Diner every day was the mother of one of the most powerful men in Boston. Lily felt reality shifting under her feet. Nathan moved closer to the booth, every step deliberate, controlled. Lily found herself moving without thinking, stepping between him and Margaret. It was instinct, pure protective instinct. She realized her mistake immediately. He was huge up close, not just tall, but broad, solid, radiating controlled power. She said she's having coffee. Lily's voice came out stronger than she felt. Mr. Whoever you are. Those black eyes locked onto her, really looked at her for the first time. She saw his gaze catalog everything. Her worn uniform, her lack of makeup, her ponytail, the way she stood protecting his mother despite obviously being terrified. Something flickered in his expression, confusion maybe, or curiosity. Who are you? The words were cold, clipped. I'm her friend, he laughed. It was a bitter, ugly sound. Friend, my mother doesn't have friends in places like this. The contempt in his voice made Lily's fear evaporate. Anger rushed in to replace it. Well, she does now, and she's finishing her lunch. Nathan's jaw clenched, a muscle jumping. How much has she paid you? Excuse me? To pretend to be her friend, to prey on a lonely old woman. He stepped closer, deliberately intimidating. How much money do you think you can extract from this situation? The accusation hit like a slap. Lily's hands balled into fists. I haven't taken a dime from her. Not that it's any of your business, Mr. Fancy Suit. Nathan Alexander Sterling. Margaret's voice cracked like a whip. The entire diner jumped. The old woman stood, slowly, every inch a prima ballerina despite her age. Her voice carried decades of commanding stages. You will apologize to this young woman, immediately. Nathan's expression cracked. Just for a moment. Hurt flashed through, raw and deep. Then it was gone, buried under ice. Mother, you've been missing for 3 weeks. His voice roughened. The police thought you'd been kidnapped. Or worse, he took another step. I've had 200 people searching. I haven't slept. I thought you were dead. The pain in those words was real. Lily heard it, felt it resonate in her chest. This wasn't just a cold billionaire angry about losing control. This was a son who had been terrified. Margaret's face softened, but she didn't back down. I left, Nathan. I wasn't kidnapped. You left a $12 million mansion. I left a prison. Margaret pulled a prescription bottle from her purse, held it up. Because my son was too busy building his empire to notice I was dying. The world stopped. Nathan froze, completely still. What? Stage 3 congestive heart failure. Margaret's voice was steady. Diagnosed 8 months ago. She unscrewed the cap, showed him the pills inside. You didn't know because you haven't had a real conversation with me in 2 years. The devastation on Nathan's face was terrible to witness. Lily watched the powerful CEO crumble, saw the scared little boy underneath. Mother, his voice broke. Why didn't you tell me? When? Margaret's question was gentle but cutting. Between your board meetings, your conference calls to Tokyo, your negotiations in Singapore? She sat back down, suddenly looking every one of her 80 years. I wanted to live, Nathan, not be managed like another property in your portfolio. Silence fell, heavy and suffocating. Nathan stood there, this man who commanded billions, who made grown executives tremble, and he looked lost, his hands clenched into fists at his sides. The Rolex caught the light, a reminder of everything he had built, everything that suddenly meant nothing. Finally, he spoke. Please, just one word. But it held universes of pain. Just let me know you're alive, a text, a call, something. Margaret studied her son, her face unreadable. I'll agree to security guards. 2, rotating shifts. Relief flooded Nathan's features. But I'm staying here in this neighborhood with my friend Lily. The relief vanished. Mother, that's not non-negotiable. They locked eyes, a battle of wills decades in the making. Nathan broke first. He pulled a business card from his pocket. Black cardstock, embossed silver letters, held it out to Lily. When you're ready to name your price for this act. Lily snatched the card, ripped it in half, then in half again. The pieces fluttered to the floor like broken promises. I told you I'm not for sale. Their eyes locked. For a moment, electricity crackled between them, something neither of them understood. Neither wanted to name. Everyone has a price, Miss Anderson, Lily Anderson. She lifted her chin. And you can't afford mine. Something flickered in Nathan's eyes. Surprise, maybe respect. Then it was gone. He turned to his mother. I'll respect your wishes, for now. His voice dropped, became almost vulnerable. But please, Mother, I was terrified. Margaret's expression softened completely. Oh, my boy. Nathan nodded stiffly, turned on his heel, strode toward the door. His security detail fell into formation around him. At the threshold, he paused, looked back. His gaze found Lily one more time. This isn't over. She couldn't tell if it was a threat or a promise. Then he was gone. The 20 Escalades pulled away, like a receding tide, leaving Bluebird Diner in shocked silence. Lily's legs went weak. She sank into the booth across from Margaret. I'm sorry you got dragged into this, dear. Lily looked at the torn pieces of business card on the floor. Nathan Sterling's name visible on the fragments. She should throw them away. Should forget this ever happened. But something told her Nathan Sterling wasn't a man who was easily forgotten. The next morning, Lily arrived at 6:30 to prep for breakfast. She had barely slept. Her mind kept replaying the scene. The 20 SUVs, the fury in Nathan Sterling's eyes, the crack in his voice when he spoke to his mother. She pushed through the back door and stopped dead. 2 men in dark suits stood in the kitchen, both built like linebackers, both wearing earpieces. Tommy was at the stove, flipping pancakes, looking deeply uncomfortable. What's going on? One of the guards spoke, voice flat, professional. Security detail for Mrs. Sterling, day shift. In the kitchen? Securing the perimeter. Lily set down her purse, irritation flaring. This is a diner, not the Pentagon. The guard's expression didn't change. Orders from Mr. Sterling. She tied on her apron with more force than necessary, muttering under her breath. But when Margaret arrived at 9:30, Lily understood. Photographers waited outside. 3 of them. Professional cameras with long lenses. How had they known? The guards moved with fluid precision, forming a shield as Margaret shuffled from a modest sedan. Flashbulbs exploded anyway. "Mrs. Sterling, where have you been? Is it true you're living in a boarding house? What does your son think?" Margaret's face went pale. Her hands trembled. By the time she reached the safety of the diner, she was shaking. "Vultures," Lily muttered, bringing coffee without being asked. "I'm so sorry." "Not your fault, dear." Margaret wrapped both hands around the warm cup. "It's the price of being a Sterling." She took a sip, closed her eyes. "Nathan means well. He always has. He just doesn't know how to express it anymore." "What happened to him?" Margaret's eyes opened, distant with memory. "His father died 5 years ago. Richard's plane went down over the Atlantic. Engine failure on a business trip to London." She paused, the pain still fresh despite the years. "Nathan was supposed to be on that plane. He missed it because the meeting ran late." Lily's chest tightened. "He's carried that guilt every day since." Margaret's voice dropped to almost a whisper. "After the funeral, Nathan changed, threw himself into Sterling Industries like a man possessed." She looked out the window, at the life going by. "He quintupled the company in 5 years, made Richard's empire into something bigger than anyone imagined. But he stopped living." "Yes," Margaret turned back to Lily. "He stopped calling, stopped visiting except for obligatory dinners. When he looked at me, I think I reminded him of what he'd lost, of the father he couldn't save." Understanding bloomed in Lily's chest. Nathan Sterling wasn't cold, he was broken. "So you left." "I'm 80 years old, Lily. The doctors say I have maybe a year." Margaret squeezed her hand. "I wanted to feel alive before I die, even if only for a little while." She smiled, sad but genuine. "And then I found you and this place, and I remembered what it felt like to be seen as Margaret. Not as Mrs. Richard Sterling, not as Nathan Sterling's mother. Just Margaret. Just Margaret." The bell above the door chimed. Lily looked up, and her heart stopped. Nathan Sterling stood in the doorway. But this Nathan was different. No fleet of vehicles outside. No security detail forming protective walls. He wore dark jeans. Expensive, yes, but still jeans. A gray Henley, leather jacket. He looked exhausted. Shadows under his eyes like bruises, stubble darkening his jaw. He held 2 coffee cups. His gaze found Lily immediately. "I came to apologize." The diner went quiet, everyone watching. Lily stood frozen, unable to process this. The Ice King of Boston, in Bluebird Diner, wearing jeans, apologizing. "I made assumptions about your character yesterday." His voice was quieter than before, still precise, but lacking that razor edge. Assumptions that were unfounded and unfair. He moved closer, each step deliberate. "I was scared and angry, and I took it out on you." Those dark eyes held hers. "That was wrong. I'm sorry." Lily found her voice. Okay, apology accepted." Nathan turned to his mother. "May I sit?" Margaret gestured to the booth. He slid in across from her, set one of the coffee cups in front of her with careful precision. "Vanilla latte, extra foam, the way you like it." Margaret's eyes filled with tears. "You remembered." "I haven't forgotten anything, Mother." His voice softened. "I've just been terrible at showing it." Lily watched this moment, this tenderness between mother and son, saw the man beneath the ice. Nathan pulled out his phone. It was buzzing, vibrating against the table. He looked at the screen, then deliberately powered it off. Completely off. Set it aside. "I have a proposition. A real one this time." Margaret waited. "Stay in this neighborhood if that's what you want. Keep coming to Bluebird." He took a breath, like the next words cost him. "But let me make you safe." His proposal was simple. Buy Mrs. Monroe's boarding house, renovate it properly. Update the wiring that was a fire hazard. Add proper heating. Security systems that didn't intrude but protected. Mrs. Monroe would be compensated. Her other tenants would benefit too. And weekly dinners, here at Bluebird. Real dinners, Mother, real conversations. No business talk, no phone calls. No running away to deal with emergencies? Nathan's jaw tightened, but he nodded. No running away. Starting today. "I have an investor meeting at 2. "You had an investor meeting." Margaret's voice was steel-wrapped in velvet. Past tense. They locked eyes. Lily watched Nathan struggle, watched him wage war with himself. This man who never canceled meetings, who never rearranged his schedule for anyone. Finally, he nodded. "Fine, today, 5:30. 5:30, Margaret smiled. Nathan stood, moved toward the counter where Lily had retreated. He pulled out his wallet, extracted several $100 bills. For the meals you've bought my mother, I know she hasn't paid you. Lily pushed the money back. I told you yesterday, I don't want payment for being a decent human being. His eyes narrowed, reassessing her. You're unusual, Miss Anderson. It's just Lily. Just Lily. The way he said her name made something flutter in her chest, slow, deliberate, like he was tasting each syllable. Their eyes held, a beat too long. Both looked away. I'll see you at 5:30. Nathan turned to leave, paused at the door, looked back. Just Lily? Yes. That coffee really is excellent. Then he was gone, and Lily stood holding a dish rag, her heart racing for reasons she didn't want to examine. Tommy appeared at her elbow, grinning like he knew a secret. Oh, you're in trouble, kiddo. Shut up, Tommy. But her cheeks were burning, and she couldn't stop the smile creeping across her face. At 5:25, Tommy prepared his best dinner special. Meatloaf, real mashed potatoes, green beans with almonds, fresh rolls. Margaret sat in her booth, wearing vintage Chanel, her finest suit. Her hands trembled slightly, nerves she couldn't quite hide. He'll come, Lily assured her, though she wasn't certain. Men like Nathan Sterling probably canceled on people all the time. Too important, too busy. But at 5:30 exactly, the door opened. Nathan entered. He had changed, now wearing a charcoal suit, navy tie, hair perfectly styled again. He carried a bouquet of white tulips. Margaret gasped, hands flying to her mouth. Your father used to bring me tulips. Nathan's expression softened. I know, Mom, I remember everything. Mom, not mother. Mom, it was the first time Lily had heard him use that word. Margaret stood, tears streaming down her face. Nathan crossed to her, set down the flowers, pulled her into a careful hug. I'm sorry, he whispered. But Lily heard it. I'm so sorry. They stood like that for a long moment, son and mother, finally reuniting after years of distance. When they separated, both had tears in their eyes. Nathan helped Margaret sit, then turned to Lily. As she approached with their plates, he caught her wrist. The touch was electric. Both froze. He released her immediately, but the warmth lingered. Will you join us? His voice was carefully neutral. My mother speaks very highly of you. I'd like to know more about the woman who's become so important to her. Lily looked to Margaret. The old woman was smiling, knowing. I have to work. Yeah, Nathan called to Tommy. Can Lily take her dinner break? Tommy, who would probably agree to anything Nathan Sterling asked, nodded vigorously. Sure, sure. Take your time, Lily. Trapped, Lily slid into the booth beside Margaret, across from Nathan. Tommy brought her the dinner special, and suddenly she was having dinner with a billionaire CEO and his mother, still wearing her uniform, still smelling faintly of the fryer. So, Nathan's voice held a hint of amusement. Just Lily. Tell me about yourself. There's not much to tell. She kept her eyes on her plate. I'm a waitress. I grew up in South Boston. That's not all you are, Margaret's gentle nudge. Lily had a full scholarship to MIT. Nathan's eyebrows rose. Genuine surprise. MIT? What were you studying? Lily felt her cheeks heat. Mechanical engineering. Were. The question hung between them. She took a breath, said it matter of fact, the way she always did, not looking for pity. My father was a firefighter, FDNY. He died when the towers fell. I was 7. Nathan's expression shifted, something raw flickering through. My mother raised me alone after that. She got breast cancer when I was 19. Stage 4. Lily finally looked up, met his eyes. I dropped out sophomore year to take care of her. She died 3 months later. Silence fell, heavy with shared understanding of loss. I'm sorry, Nathan said quietly. That must have been devastating. It was. Lily managed a small smile. But I survived. She turned the tables, deflecting attention. What about you, Mr. Sterling? Who are you when you're not being a CEO? Margaret laughed, delighted. Oh, I like her, Nathan. She doesn't let you hide. Nathan looked uncomfortable, like a man unused to personal questions. I'm not sure I know how to answer that. Try. He studied her, those dark eyes searching. Sterling Industries has been my life for the past 5 years. That's not a life, Lily said softly. That's a job. Perhaps. He conceded the point, but then he started talking, haltingly at first, about his father, about the pressure of legacy, about wanting to be an architect but ending up at Wharton for an MBA, about the plane crash, about finding out his father was gone, about the guilt of missing that flight. Lily shared her dream of opening a small cafe, something cozy and warm, where everyone felt welcome. Nathan talked about still sketching buildings, keeping that dream alive in private. Margaret watched them both, her knowing eyes seeing something neither had recognized yet. The conversation flowed, easy despite their different worlds. An hour passed, then 90 minutes. When Lily finally had to return to work, Nathan stood as she left the table, an old-fashioned gesture that surprised her. "Thank you for dinner and for the conversation." "Any time," Lily replied, and meant it. As she cleared almost and served other customers, she kept glancing back at Nathan and Margaret, heads together, actually talking like mother and son should. The ice was beginning to thaw, and Lily realized she had played a part in that. What she didn't realize was that Nathan was also glancing at her when he thought no one was watching, his dark eyes tracking her movements around the diner with an intensity that would have startled her. He was a man used to analyzing, to strategizing, and Lily Anderson was becoming a very interesting puzzle. A puzzle he suddenly very much wanted to solve. Over the next 2 weeks, Nathan Sterling became a regular at a Bluebird diner. Wednesday dinners with Margaret, always punctual, always bringing white tulips. But he also started appearing at other times. Tuesday mornings for coffee before work. Friday afternoons, claiming he was in the neighborhood. Sunday brunches that stretched into the afternoon. Each time he ended up in conversation with Lily. Their talks ranged everywhere. Philosophy, books, architecture, the gentrification happening in South Boston. Lily told herself it was coincidence. Nathan was reconnecting with his mother. The diner was where Margaret spent her time. It had nothing to do with Lily personally. She was just the waitress. But there were moments, a lingering look when she refilled his coffee, the way his hand would brush hers, seemingly by accident. The smile appearing more frequently on his usually stern face. Moments that made her wonder if there was something more. On the third Wednesday, everything changed. Nathan arrived for dinner, but his demeanor was different. Less controlled, more nervous. After Margaret excused herself to the restroom, he turned to Lily. "I need to ask you something." Her heart jumped. "Okay. These past few weeks, I told myself I was coming here for my mother." He paused, gathered courage. "But the truth is I come for you too." Lily's breath caught. "You make me want to be better. To remember there's more to life than quarterly reports and board meetings." His eyes held hers, intense, vulnerable. "I know this is complicated. Our worlds are very different, but I can't stop thinking about you." The world narrowed to just the two of them. "Let me take you to dinner. A real dinner. Just us. No mother as buffer." Lily's mind raced. Every logical part screamed no. This was Nathan Sterling, billionaire, CEO, from a world she would never understand. But her heart was already falling. "Yes," she whispered. The smile that transformed his face was radiant, genuine, utterly breathtaking. In that moment, Lily realized she was in serious trouble. She was falling for Nathan Sterling. And there was no safety net to catch her. Neither of them noticed the woman sitting in the corner. Blonde, beautiful, designer everything. Vanessa Blackwood, Nathan's ex-fiancée. She raised a professional camera, snapped photo after photo through the window. Her phone buzzed. She typed a quick message. Phase 1 complete. Moving to phase 2. She smiled, cold and calculating. This little waitress was about to learn what happened to women who tried to take what belonged to Vanessa. And Nathan Sterling was hers. Always had been. Always would be. No matter what he believed. Saturday evening arrived dressed in autumn gold. Lily stood in her studio apartment, staring at her reflection with growing panic. The navy blue dress hung on her frame. Simple, modest. She had worn it to her cousin's wedding 3 years ago. It was the only thing in her closet remotely appropriate for dating a billionaire. The borrowed heels were half a size too big. She had stuffed tissue in the toes. Her makeup was borrowed too. Lipstick from her coworker. Mascara that was probably expired. She looked like a girl playing dress-up, like an imposter. The knock at her door came at exactly 7 o'clock. Nathan Sterling was nothing if not punctual. Lily took a breath, smoothed the dress one final time, opened the door, and forgot how to breathe. He stood in the hallway of her cheap apartment building. Dark slacks, cashmere sweater in charcoal gray, leather jacket slung over one arm. No suit, no tie. He had listened when she said she would be uncomfortable somewhere too fancy. His eyes traveled over her, slow, appreciative. "You're beautiful." The way he said it made her believe it. They drove to the North End in his car. Not one of the Escalades. A simple black sedan. Expensive, yes, but understated. The restaurant was small, candlelit, intimate, exposed brick walls, checkered tablecloths. The smell of garlic and basil and homemade bread. The owner greeted Nathan by name, led them to a corner table. "You come here often?" Lily asked as they sat. "My father used to bring me here. When I was a kid." Nathan's voice went soft with memory, before everything got complicated. They ordered wine that Lily couldn't pronounce, pasta that she would remember for the rest of her life. And they talked, really talked. Nathan told her about Wharton, about studying business when he wanted to study architecture, about the buildings he still sketched late at night when he couldn't sleep. He pulled out his phone, showed her the drawings. They were beautiful. Soaring glass towers, organic curves, structures that looked like they were growing from the earth itself. "These are incredible," Lily breathed. "After my father's plane went down, architecture felt frivolous." Nathan's jaw tightened. Sterling Industries was drowning. The board wanted to sell, break it into pieces. He looked at his hands. "I had to prove I could lead, had to make him proud." Lily reached across the table, covered his hand with hers. "I think you've done that, more than done it." Nathan turned his hand over, laced their fingers together. The touch sent electricity up her arm. "What about you?" he asked. "What would you have done with that MIT degree?" Lily smiled, but genuine. "Aerospace engineering. I wanted to build things that could fly. Rockets, satellites, impossible things made possible. Sometimes I wonder who I would have become if my mother hadn't gotten sick." Nathan's grip tightened. "You're already extraordinary, Lily. A degree is just paper. You're more than that." Their food arrived. They ate slowly, savoring, but neither was really focused on the meal. They were focused on each other. On the way words flowed, easy, natural, on how it felt like they had known each other for years instead of weeks. After dinner, Nathan drove her home, parked outside her building. Neither moved to get out. "Show me," he said suddenly. "Show you what?" "Your world, your apartment, the real Lily Anderson." She hesitated. Her place was tiny, shabby, but the look in his eyes was genuine curiosity, not judgment. "Okay." The studio was 400 square feet of carefully curated life. Thrifted furniture made cozy with throws and pillows. String lights casting warm glows. Plants on the fire escape. Books everywhere. Shelves made from cinder blocks and planks, sagging under the weight of her library. Hemingway, Austen, Morrison, Fitzgerald, Baldwin. Photos of her parents covered one wall. Her father in his FDNY uniform. Her mother at graduation. Both smiling, both gone. Nathan moved through the space slowly, taking it all in. He stopped at the coffee table, picked up a sketchbook. Lily's heart jumped. "That's nothing. Just..." But he was already flipping through pages. Engineering drawings, precise, technical, beautiful, a redesign of Bluebird Diner's kitchen. More efficient flow, better equipment placement, structural improvements to the aging building. "You drew these?" "It's stupid, just a hobby." "These are incredible." Nathan looked up, his eyes intense. "You could have been a brilliant engineer, Lily." She felt heat rise to her cheeks. He set down the sketchbook, stepped closer. "I need you to understand something." His voice dropped, became almost rough. "My world is complicated, ruthless. There will be photographers who follow us, gossip that tears you apart, people who will judge you for being with me." He cupped her face, thumbs brushing her cheekbones. "Board members who think you're beneath me." The anger in his voice at that thought made her chest tight. "Maybe they're right," Lily whispered. "They're not. Fierce, absolute. You're smarter than half my executives, kinder than anyone in my circle, braver than I'll ever be." "I'm terrified, Nathan." "Of what?" "Of not being enough, of embarrassing you. You could never..." She pulled him down, kissed him before he could finish. The kiss was desperate, full of fear and hope tangled together. Nathan's arms wrapped around her, gentle but hungry. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. "Stay," Lily whispered. "Please stay." "Are you sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything." They spent the night wrapped together on her small couch, talking, kissing, watching Casablanca on her laptop. Nathan told her he loved how she saw the world, how she found beauty in small things. Lily fell asleep on his shoulder as Bogart said goodbye to Bergman. When she woke at dawn, Nathan was still there, still holding her. "Good morning, beautiful," he murmured. The tenderness in his eyes was overwhelming. In that moment, Lily knew she was completely, irrevocably in love with Nathan Sterling, and it terrified her. The next 3 weeks passed in a golden haze. Nathan came to Bluebird multiple times each week, always bringing tulips for Margaret, always finding time to talk with Lily. On her days off, he took her places: the Museum of Fine Arts, Symphony Hall, long walks along the harbor. He was always checking, making sure she was comfortable, that she was happy. At the MFA, he stood behind her in front of a Monet, his breath warm against her ear as he explained the technique, the way light could be captured in brushstrokes. At Symphony Hall, he held her hand through Beethoven's Ninth, watched her face more than the orchestra. By the harbor, he taught her to skip stones, laughed when hers went sideways, pulled her close when the wind picked up. At night, they returned to her apartment, talked until dawn, made love slowly, carefully, like they were learning a new language together. Nathan was transforming before everyone's eyes. He smiled readily now, laughed at Tommy's terrible jokes, left work at 6 o'clock. Unheard of. His assistant was in shock. "He took a personal today? Nathan Sterling took a personal day?" Margaret was delighted, but her health was declining. Lily noticed first. More medication, more exhaustion, Margaret leaning heavily on her cane. One afternoon, Margaret pulled Lily aside. "The doctors say maybe 4 months now." Lily's throat closed. "You have to tell Nathan." "Soon, I promise." Margaret squeezed her hand. "Let him be happy a little longer, please." So Lily kept the secret, watched Nathan fall deeper in love, watched him come alive, and hated knowing it would all come crashing down. But there were other cracks forming, cracks neither of them noticed. Vanessa Blackwood was everywhere, at the restaurant where they had dinner, sitting 3 tables away, camera hidden in her purse. At Symphony Hall, in the balcony, telephoto lens capturing every touch. Walking the harbor, blonde hair covered by a scarf, sunglasses hiding her face, building a file, photo by photo, and on her phone, text messages to Richard Carlisle, board member, old guard. He had never approved of Nathan's aggressive expansion. She sent him everything: the waitress, the cheap apartment, the community college education that Nathan was clearly pretending to respect. Evidence that Nathan Sterling was losing focus, becoming distracted by something inappropriate, something that could damage the company. But Lily knew nothing of this. She was too busy falling, too busy believing in impossible things. Social media started noticing. Photos appeared online, blurry, distant, but unmistakable. Nathan Sterling with an unknown woman. The comments were brutal. "Gold digger. He's slumming. This won't last a month. She's using him." Lily tried not to read them, failed every time. One night, she found an old article. Nathan and Vanessa at a charity gala 4 years ago. They looked perfect together, both in designer everything, both belonging to that glittering world. The caption read, "Power couple, Sterling heir and Blackwood CEO. 5-year relationship." 5 years. Lily stared at the photo. Vanessa was everything she wasn't. Polished, educated at the right schools, connected to the right families. She fit. Lily would never fit. The thought kept her awake that night, even with Nathan's arms around her. Tommy pulled her aside one morning. His face was grim. "I need to tell you something. About the developers buying our block." Lily braced herself. "It's Blackwood Development, Vanessa Blackwood's company." The floor tilted. "Nathan's ex?" Tommy nodded. "I don't know if he knows, but be careful, Lily. Women like that don't let go easily." That night, Lily almost told Nathan, almost asked about Vanessa, but he was so happy, talking about taking her to meet the Sterling Industries leadership team, about making them understand how important she was. She couldn't ruin it. Not yet. 2 weeks later, the invitation arrived. Heavy cardstock, embossed gold lettering. Margaret Sterling's 80th birthday celebration. The Sterling Mansion. Beacon Hill. Black tie. 200 guests. Lily's hands shook as she read it. "It's a surprise," Nathan explained. Excited like a kid. "I'm bringing her back to society, reminding everyone who she is." He took Lily's hands. "I want you there. As my date, officially." Her stomach churned. "Nathan, I don't know if—" "Please, this is important to me. Showing everyone that you're part of my life now." How could she say no? The day of the party, a stylist arrived at Lily's apartment. Sent by Nathan. 3 designer dresses, hair and makeup artists, the works. Lily chose the emerald green gown. Simple lines. Elegant. She didn't look at the price tag. The woman in the mirror looked like a stranger. Hair swept up. Makeup perfect. Dress that probably cost more than 4 months' rent. She looked like she belonged. But inside, she was still just Lily. Waitress from South Boston. Playing dress-up in someone else's life. Nathan picked her up at 7. His reaction when he saw her made everything worth it. He actually stopped breathing for a moment. "You're stunning." The Sterling mansion took her breath away. Beacon Hill, historic brownstone. $18 million of old money and older secrets. Inside, a ballroom glittered with crystal chandeliers. 200 people in designer everything. Diamonds catching light. Champagne flowing like water. Lily felt like Dorothy stepping into Oz. Nathan took her hand. "Stay close. I'll protect you." She wanted to believe him. Margaret was led in blindfolded. When she saw the ballroom full of people, panic flashed across her face. She rushed to Lily immediately. "Thank God you're here. I don't know half these people." "Happy birthday," Lily whispered. "Are you okay?" "It's overwhelming." Margaret's hands trembled. "But we'll survive it together." Then Nathan was swept away. Board members surrounded him. Investors demanding attention. He glanced back at Lily, apologetic, mouthed, "Sorry," and disappeared into the crowd. Lily stood alone in a sea of strangers. That's when Vanessa appeared. She materialized like smoke. Stunning in red Valentino. Blonde hair perfect. Smile sharp as a knife. "You must be the charity case." Lily forced a smile. "I'm Lily Anderson." "Of course you are." Vanessa's eyes traveled over her. Clinical, dismissive. "Everyone's talking about you, dear." She moved closer, voice dropping to intimate cruelty. "Nathan's little project. It's sweet, really. He always did have a savior complex." Lily's hands clenched. "We were engaged for a year, you know. Together for 5 before that." The words hit like physical blows. Engaged. Nathan had never mentioned being engaged. "I know Nathan better than anyone." Vanessa's smile widened. "His patterns, his preferences." She leaned in, perfume expensive and cloying. "Right now you're novel, different, but eventually he'll realize you don't fit." Her eyes were cold, calculating. "And he'll come back to his own kind. He always does." Before Lily could respond, another voice interrupted. "Don't listen to her, honey." Mrs. Delilah Monroe appeared, warm, protective. The woman who owned the boarding house where Margaret stayed. She's been trying to get Nathan back for years. Failed every time. Delilah linked arms with Lily, led her away from Vanessa's poison, introduced her to kind faces. Real people in this glittering crowd. But the damage was done. Vanessa's words echoed. Engaged for a year. Together for 5. Why hadn't Nathan told her? Dinner was announced. Lily found herself at the head table, between Nathan and a board member named Richard Carlisle, 65, silver hair, cold eyes that assessed her like a balance sheet. "So, Miss Anderson, you're a waitress?" The question dripped condescension. "Yes." "How charming. Did you attend college?" "I had a scholarship to MIT, but—" "Had." He smiled, not kindly. "I see." Nathan was pulled into a heated discussion about a merger. Corporate jargon, financial terms Lily couldn't follow. She felt invisible and hypervisible. All at once, whispers floated around the table. The waitress at the head table. "Doesn't she feel out of place? Poor thing doesn't even know which fork to use." Lily wanted to disappear. After dinner, Nathan found her, pulled her onto the dance floor. "I'm sorry, I know this isn't what you wanted." "It's fine." The lie tasted bitter. What happened? He saw through her, always did. She wanted to tell him about Vanessa, about the engagement he never mentioned, about feeling like she was drowning. But he looked so tired, the weight of hosting, of being Nathan Sterling for 200 people. "Nothing, just these heels are killing me." Something shifted in his eyes, decision made. "Let's get out of here." "You're the host." "I don't care." He grabbed her hand. They ran, through the mansion's gardens, Lily's heels in her hand, both laughing like teenagers escaping detention. Nathan snagged a champagne bottle from a passing waiter. They ended up in a gazebo overlooking Boston's lights. Party noise distant, just them under stars. "This is better," Nathan said, pouring champagne. "This is perfect." Lily leaned into him. He wrapped his arms around her. "I should have prepared you better. My world can be vicious. I can handle it. You shouldn't have to." He kissed her temple. "From now on, I'll do better. I'll protect you." She wanted to believe him, but Vanessa's words haunted her. He'll come back to his own kind. Nathan's phone buzzed. He pulled it out, frowned, answered. What? His entire demeanor changed. Relaxed Nathan vanished. CEO snapped into place. Tokyo, the deal is falling apart? Now? He stood, already moving toward the house. I'll call them from my study. Stopped. Turned back to Lily. I'm sorry, this is... Go. She forced a smile. I understand. But as she watched him disappear into the mansion, phone pressed to his ear, she wondered. Would she always be the woman left behind, waiting for stolen moments between crises? The fear settled in her chest like ice. The following week, Nathan was consumed. The Tokyo deal had imploded, required around-the-clock damage control. He texted when he could. Miss you, sorry I can't call, this is insane. But he didn't call, didn't come to Bluebird for Wednesday dinner. First time ever. Margaret sat alone in her booth, texted him, emergency board meeting, so sorry mother. Margaret looked at Lily soon, knowing this is how it starts, work consuming everything. He's under a lot of pressure. That was Richard's excuse too. Thursday afternoon, Lily's phone rang during lunch rush. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Lily Anderson? Yes. Rachel Foster, Daily Tribune. I'm writing a feature on Nathan Sterling and his new relationship. Can you comment? Lily's blood went cold. I don't have any comment. Are you aware, Mr. Sterling was engaged to Vanessa Blackwood? 5-year relationship. Engaged for one. He ended it, quote, without warning, 3 years ago. The world tilted. Engaged. 5 years. He had never told her any of this. How do you respond to allegations you targeted Mrs. Sterling to access her son? That this is a calculated attempt to marry into wealth? That's not... Sterling Industries board members are concerned. Sources say he's neglecting his duties, missing key meetings. Rachel's voice sharpened. Is it true you're living together? That he's spending company resources on you? Lily hung up, hands shaking. She tried to call Nathan. Voicemail, again. Voicemail. Text, urgent, reporter called. We need to talk. No response. 3 hours passed. Nothing. Margaret arrived at 4 with a newspaper. Business section, front page. Sterling's surprising romance. Billionaire CEO and South Boston waitress. The photo was from the birthday party. Lily in the emerald gown, Nathan's arm around her waist. The article dissected their relationship, used words like unlikely pairing and questionable judgment, quoted an unnamed board source, concerning lack of focus from our CEO. Lily felt sick. Their private relationship, exposed, analyzed, judged. At 5 o'clock, Nathan's SUV screeched to a stop outside. He burst through the door, haggard, tie loose, unshaven, exhausted. My office, now, we need to talk. I'm working. Well, Tommy, Lily needs the day off. He didn't even look at Tommy. Tommy jumped. Of course, Mr. Sterling. And there it was. Everyone jumped when Nathan Sterling spoke, including her. The drive to Sterling Industries was silent. Lily's anger built with every mile. The tower was all glass and steel, 48 floors of power. Nathan's office occupied the entire top floor, windows overlooking Boston Harbor, a view that probably cost millions. He closed the door, turned to her. I'm handling it. PR team is issuing a statement. Legal is prepared to sue for harassment. Lily stared at him. That's it? That's what you wanted to tell me? Yes, this will blow over. Media moves on quickly. Blow over? Her voice rose. Nathan, a reporter accused me of being a gold digger, of targeting your mother. She stepped closer. She asked about your ex-fiancée, who you never mentioned. Vanessa Blackwood, 5 years together, engaged for 1 year. Nathan's jaw tightened. That ended 3 years ago. It's irrelevant. Is it? Because she was at your party. And she made it very clear she thinks I'm a phase. Vanessa is bitter. Her opinion doesn't matter. But she's not wrong. The words tore out of Lily. I don't fit in your world, Nathan. I saw it. I felt it. Everyone looking at me like an imposter. You're not. And you. All the frustration poured out. You promised you'd protect me, that you'd be there. Her voice cracked. I've been trying to reach you for 3 hours. You didn't answer until it became a PR problem. Nathan's eyes flashed. That's not fair, Lily. I have responsibilities. I'm not asking you to drop everything. Tears threatened. I'm asking you to answer your phone, to treat me like I matter. You do matter. He ran his hands through his hair. God, Lily, you matter more than anyone has in years. His voice rose to match hers. But I can't change who I am. I can't change what Sterling Industries demands. This is my life. Board meetings and deals and constant pressure. The words came out harsh, cutting. If you can't handle that, if I can't handle it, what? Lily challenged. You'll find someone who can? Someone like Vanessa who knows your world? Nathan's face went cold. Maybe that would be easier. Silence fell. Terrible. Complete. He realized what he'd said immediately, reached for her. Lily, I didn't mean. No. She stepped back. You're right. Tears streamed down her face now. It would be easier for both of us. Her voice broke completely, because I can't keep waiting for stolen moments. I can't keep feeling like an obligation squeezed between meetings. She looked at him, this man she loved. And you can't keep pretending you have room in your life for anything but Sterling Industries. What are you saying? The fear in his voice would haunt her. I'm saying this was a mistake. We were fooling ourselves. She forced the words out. I love you, Nathan, but I don't think that's enough. His face went through a dozen emotions. Shock, pain, desperation. Then the worst thing, resignation. The mask slid back into place. CEO replacing the man who had held her in the gazebo. If that's what you want, his voice was ice. I won't stop you. She waited for him to fight, to say he loved her too, to promise things would change. He just stood there, silent, distant, proving every fear she'd ever had. Goodbye, Nathan. She walked out of his office, out of the building, out of his life, made it to the sidewalk before collapsing, tears streaming, heart shattering. Business people rushed past, oblivious to her pain. She had fallen in love with a man who couldn't love her back, not the way she needed. And now she had to learn how to breathe without him, even though every breath felt like drowning. 2 weeks. 14 days since Lily Anderson had walked out of Nathan Sterling's office. 336 hours since she had told him she loved him and watched him say nothing in return. Time moves strangely when your heart was broken. Sometimes it crawled, seconds stretching into eternities. Each minute a fresh reminder of the empty space beside you. Sometimes it raced, days blurring together. Wake up, go to work, smile at customers, go home, cry, sleep, repeat. Lily had become a ghost in her own life. She moved through Bluebird Diner on autopilot, poured coffee without tasting it, served plates without seeing them, smiled at regulars without feeling it. Tommy watched her with worried eyes. Kid, you gotta eat something. Lily looked down at the untouched sandwich he had placed in front of her. Turkey and Swiss, her favorite. Her stomach turned. Not hungry. You haven't been hungry in 2 weeks. She pushed the plate away. Returned to wiping down the counter. The same spot over and over, until the chrome gleamed. Margaret still came every day, 9:30, like clockwork. But the old woman looked frailer now. She used a cane, moved slower. Her breathing was labored even after the short walk from Mrs. Monroe's boarding house. They sat together, drank coffee, talked about everything except Nathan. The silence around his name was deafening, but Lily saw the questions in Margaret's eyes, the concern, the sadness. One afternoon, during a rare quiet moment, Margaret took Lily's hand. He's dying inside, dear. Lily's chest tightened. Margaret. No, listen, please. The old woman's grip was surprisingly strong. He hasn't left his office in days, sleeping on the couch, barely eating, barely speaking to anyone. Margaret's eyes filled with tears. He asks about you every single day, and every day I refuse to tell him anything. Why are you telling me this? Because you both are suffering. Margaret's voice cracked, and I'm old enough to know that life is too short for pride. She leaned forward, intense despite her frailty. If you love him, and I know you do, then fight for him. Lily pulled her hand back. He let me walk away, Margaret. He didn't fight for me. Didn't he? Margaret's question was gentle. Or is he so used to people leaving that he doesn't know how to ask them to stay? The words hit like a physical blow. Lily thought about Nathan's father, about the plane crash, about survivor's guilt that had consumed 5 years of his life, about a man who had learned to protect himself by feeling nothing. My husband Richard was the same way. Margaret's voice went distant. Pushed away everyone he loved, died alone thousands of miles from home because he valued work over family. She looked at Lily, really looked at her. I don't want that for Nathan, and I don't want you to live with regret. Margaret paused, drew a shaky breath. The doctors say I have weeks now, maybe a month if I'm lucky. Lily's eyes burn. I'm tired, Lily. So very tired. But before I go, I want to see my son happy. Really, truly happy. Her smile was sad and knowing, the way he was with you. That night, Lily couldn't sleep. She lay in her small bed, staring at the ceiling, watching shadows shift across the plaster. 2 in the morning, the city outside was quiet, just the occasional siren. The distant rumble of the tea, her mind wouldn't stop, replaying moments like a film reel stuck on loop. Nathan's face when she had said, I love you. That flash of desperate hope before the mask slammed down. The way he had held her hand in the car, driving to the hospital, needing her anchor. How he had looked at her engineering sketches. You could have been brilliant, said with such conviction she had almost believed it. Running through his garden. Both of them laughing like children escaping a world that demanded too much. The way he said her name, just Lily, like a prayer, like a promise, teaching her to waltz in her living room. I'll lead for both of us, his hand so gentle, his smile so rare and precious. Understanding crashed over her. Margaret was right. Nathan had let her go because he thought it was what she wanted, what she deserved. He had watched his father die, choosing work over family. Had carried that guilt for 5 years. Terrified of becoming the same man. So terrified of loss that he pushed away anything he might lose. Protected himself the only way he knew how. By feeling nothing. But Lily had walked away too. She had given up. Let fear and insecurity drive her away from the best thing that had ever happened to her. Let pride convince her that if he really loved her, he would have fought. But what if he didn't know how? What if he was waiting for her? Lily sat up, heart pounding. Her phone sat on the nightstand. Charging, the screen dark. 2:15 in the morning. Absolutely the wrong time to do this, but she couldn't wait. If she waited, she would lose her nerve. She grabbed the phone, scrolled to Margaret's number. It rang 3 times. Margaret answered immediately. Wide awake. Lily? Where is he? A pause, then warmth flooded Margaret's voice. Forest Hills Cemetery, Jamaica Plain. Now? He goes there when he can't sleep. Margaret's voice was soft. Which lately is every night. I'm going. Good girl. Pride in those 2 words. Make him see, Lily. Make him feel again. Lily was already pulling on jeans, a sweater, her worn sneakers. I will. She hung up, called a taxi, paced her tiny apartment while waiting. Her reflection caught in the mirror. Hair messy, no makeup, eyes red from crying. She looked terrible. She didn't care. The taxi arrived. She gave the address, Forest Hills Cemetery. The driver raised an eyebrow but said nothing. Boston at 2:30 in the morning was a different city. Quieter, darker, almost peaceful. Lily watched the streets blur past, her heart hammering against her ribs. What if he wasn't there? What if he was there but didn't want to see her? What if she was too late? The questions spiraled, but she pushed them down. Margaret had said he asked about her every day. That had to mean something. The taxi pulled up to the cemetery gates. Gothic iron, imposing even in darkness. You sure about this, miss? Lily paid, tipped generously. I'm sure. She stepped out into October night, cool but not cold, stars brilliant above the city lights. The gates were locked, but there was a smaller entrance. She slipped through. Gravel paths wound between monuments, headstones casting long shadows in moonlight. Lily had never been here before, but somehow she knew where to go, toward the oldest section, where Boston's elite rested in marble crypts and family plots, where Richard Sterling lay. Her footsteps crunched on gravel, too loud in the silence. And then she saw him. Nathan Sterling sat on the grass in front of a simple headstone, still wearing his work clothes, suit jacket discarded, tie loose, shirt rumpled. He looked devastated, unshaven, hair disheveled, shoulders hunched under weight she couldn't see. The powerful CEO reduced to a broken man sitting in a graveyard at 3 in the morning. Lily's heart shattered all over again. Her footsteps must have alerted him. His head snapped up. Even in moonlight she could see his face. Ravaged, dark circles like bruises under his eyes, cheeks hollow. He looked like he hadn't slept in weeks, hadn't eaten, hadn't lived. He stood slowly, disbelief written across every line of his body. Lily, his voice was hoarse, broken, like he had screamed himself raw and was still trying to speak. What are you doing here? Lily moved closer, each step deliberate. Your mother told me where to find you. He didn't move toward her, stood frozen, like she was a mirage that would disappear if he blinked. You look terrible, she said softly. A bitter laugh escaped him. I feel terrible. Silence fell, heavy with everything unsaid. Nathan's walls were visible even in darkness. The way he held himself, tense, guarded, afraid. Lily, if you came here too. He stopped, swallowed hard. I can't watch you walk away again. I can't survive it twice. The rawness in his voice nearly broke her, but she had come here to fight, so she would fight. Then don't watch. Lily closed the distance between them. I didn't come here to walk away, Nathan. I came to fight for you. For us. His breath caught. There is no us. But his voice lacked conviction. You made that clear. And you were right. He turned away, facing his father's grave instead of her. I can't give you what you need. I'm broken, consumed by work, incapable of putting anything before Sterling Industries. Stop. Lily grabbed his arm, pulled him around to face her. Stop telling me what I need. You don't get to decide that. I do. She stepped closer, looking up into those dark eyes she had missed so desperately. And I've decided I need you. Tears streamed down her face now. She didn't bother wiping them away. The real you, not the perfect billionaire, not the man with all the answers, just you, Nathan, flawed and scared and wounded, all of you. His mask cracked. She saw it happen, watched 5 years of carefully constructed walls begin to crumble. I let you go because I thought it was what you wanted. His voice broke. Everyone leaves eventually. My father, my mother almost did. Everyone. He took a shuddering breath. I thought it would hurt less if I didn't fight, if I just let you go. And did it? Lily demanded. Did it hurt less? No. The word was wrenched from somewhere deep. God, no. It's been killing me. Every day without you is hell. Good. She grabbed his shirt, pulled him down until their faces were inches apart. Because it's been hell for me too. And I'm done with us both suffering because we're too scared to be honest. The moonlight caught the tears on his face. Nathan Sterling, the Ice King of Boston, crying openly. So I'm going to be honest right now. Lily's voice was fierce. I love you, Nathan Sterling. She said it loud, let it echo through the cemetery. I love how you remember your mother's favorite flowers, how you taught me to waltz even though I stepped on your feet, how you looked at my drawings like they mattered. The words poured out, everything she had held back. I love that you're driven and ambitious, that you care about your father's legacy. I even love that you work too much, because it means you care deeply about things. She pulled him closer. But I need you to care deeply about us, about me, not as a distraction from work, not as an obligation, but as the woman who loves you and wants to build a life with you. Nathan broke completely. He pulled her into his arms, held her so tight she could barely breathe, both of them crying now, openly, without shame. I love you. His voice was muffled against her hair. God, Lily, I love you so much. He pulled back just enough to see her face. From the moment you stood up to me in that diner, defending my mother like a fierce little warrior. I knew. His hands cupped her face, thumbs wiping away her tears. I love your strength, your brilliant mind, how you make everyone feel valued. Your tiny apartment full of books. The way you see the best in people even when they can't see it themselves. His voice cracked again. I love you, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I let you think work mattered more. I let you walk away. He pressed his forehead to hers. You're my world, Lily, not Sterling Industries. You. They stood like that, holding each other, crying. All the walls finally down, all the fear finally released. When they finally pulled back, Nathan kept his hands on her face, like he was afraid she would disappear. Then he did something that made Lily's breath stop. He knelt, right there in front of his father's grave, reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Lily's hands flew to her mouth. He opened it. Inside was a simple platinum band, a single diamond catching moonlight, beautiful in its simplicity. I bought this the day after our first date. Nathan's voice was steady now. Sure. I know that sounds crazy, moving too fast. He looked up at her, love shining in his eyes. But I knew, Lily, you're it for me, my future, my heart, my home. He turned slightly, addressing the headstone. Dad, I'm sorry I wasn't on that plane with you. Sorry I couldn't save you. His voice thickened with emotion. But I'm not sorry for loving this woman, for choosing a different path than you did. He turned back to Lily. I'm asking you, in front of my father, in front of God, marry me. Tears streamed down Lily's face. Be my partner, my family. Call me out when I'm being an idiot. Remind me what matters. His voice dropped to almost a whisper. Let me love you, every day, for the rest of our lives. Lily sank to her knees in front of him. Didn't care about wet grass, didn't care about anything except this man offering her his heart. Yes, the word came out choked. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. Nathan's hand shook as he slid the ring onto her finger. Perfect fit, like it had always belonged there. Then they were kissing, desperate and sweet in full horn of promise, both laughing through their tears. When they finally broke apart, Lily looked at the headstone. Richard Sterling, beloved husband and father. Do you think he would have approved? She asked softly. Nathan's smile was genuine, warm. He would have loved you. He always said the right partner makes you better, makes you want to be better. He stood, pulled her up with him. You do that for me, Lily. You make me want to be the man you see when you look at me. You already are that man. She touched his face. You just forgot for a while. Nathan turned back to the grave, his hand finding Lily's, lacing their fingers together. I'm going to do better, Dad. Find balance, make time for what matters. His voice was thick with emotion. I won't make your mistakes, won't die with regrets. He paused. I wish you could have met her. She's everything you would have wanted for me. Everything I didn't know I needed. They stood in silence for a moment. Then Nathan's phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out, glanced at the screen. Board meeting, 7 a.m. Lily watched him, waiting to see what he would choose. Nathan held her gaze as he powered the phone down, completely off. Work can wait. He pulled her close. Right now, you're what matters. He pressed a kiss to her forehead. Let's go home, Lily, our home. Morning light streamed through the windows of Bluebird Diner. Lily and Nathan entered together, hand in hand, both exhausted, both radiantly happy. The ring on Lily's finger caught the light, diamond sparkling. Margaret sat in her usual booth, sipping coffee. She looked up as they approached, saw their joined hands, saw the ring, and burst into tears, happy tears. She stood on shaky legs, arms outstretched. Finally, her voice was choked. My stubborn children finally figured it out. Nathan pulled his mother into a careful hug, mindful of her frailty. We had a good teacher, Mom. Margaret pulled Lily in too, the three of them standing in a circle of love and light. Thank you, Margaret whispered to Lily. Thank you for not giving up on him. Tommy brought coffee without being asked, amused, grinning like a proud father. They sat, the three of them, like family, which they were now. Nathan took a breath. I need to tell you both something about Vanessa. Margaret's expression sharpened. She's been orchestrating a hostile takeover, buying shares through shell companies. The Tokyo deal that went bad, she sabotaged it. His jaw clenched. The media attention, the photographers, she leaked everything. Lily's anger flared. Why? She wants me out as CEO, thinks she can take over Sterling Industries, merge it with Blackwood Development. Can she? Margaret's voice was sharp despite her weakness. Nathan's smile was cold. Not anymore. Emergency board meeting this afternoon. I'm calling her bluff. She breaks ethics clauses, she's out. He squeezed Lily's hand. And I have a very good lawyer. Margaret studied her son, pride in her eyes. Before you deal with Vanessa, I need to confess something. Nathan tensed. The doctors say I have weeks, maybe a month if I'm very lucky. The words hung in the air. Nathan's face went white. Mom, I know, sweetheart, I know. Margaret took both their hands. But I'm not afraid. I'm tired. Ready to rest. She smiled at them. But I want to spend whatever time I have watching you two, building your life, getting married. Her eyes shone. That's all I want. My son happy, really, truly happy. Lily spoke up. I knew about your condition. She told me months ago. Nathan looked at her, not angry, just sad. You kept her secret. She asked me to. I'm sorry. Nathan shook his head. No more secrets, from any of us. Deal? Deal, they said together. Tommy approached the table, looking nervous. Nathan gestured him over. Tommy, the developer's forcing you out. That's Vanessa's company, right? Tommy nodded, surprised Nathan knew. Nathan pulled out his phone, powered it back on just long enough to make a call. James, it's Nathan Sterling. I want to buy Atlantic Wharf Development, the entire portfolio. Pause. I don't care what it costs. Have papers ready by noon. He hung up, looked at Tommy. Bluebird Diner isn't going anywhere. In fact, I'm buying the entire block, preserving it as a historic landmark. Tommy's eyes filled with tears. Mr. Sterling, I can't. You can and you will. Nathan's voice was firm but kind. This place is where I found my mother, where I fell in love. It's part of our story. Lily squeezed his hand under the table. This man, this beautiful, complicated man who was learning to let love guide his decisions. Nathan, she said softly, I still want my own cafe, but I want to earn it, save for it, myself. Pride filled his expression. I wouldn't have it any other way. But when you're ready, I know an excellent business advisor. He smiled. She's brilliant, has an MIT scholarship. Lily laughed. Sounds overqualified. They sat there, the four of them, Tommy included now, making plans, dreaming futures. For the first time in a long time, everyone at that table felt hope. 3 months later, Lily stood in Bluebird Diner on her last day. The building had been renovated, preserved, made beautiful while keeping its soul intact. Tommy was thriving, business booming. He had even hired 2 new waitresses. Regular customers had become family over the years. Now they gathered to say goodbye. Hugs, tears, promises to visit her new place. Because Lily Anderson was opening her own cafe, Anderson's, in Jamaica Plain, near the cemetery where Nathan had proposed. Nathan hadn't bought it for her, but he had helped her secure a small business loan, connected her with a good contractor, been her partner in every way that mattered. Equal, not savior, that mattered to Lily. Margaret had passed 6 weeks ago, peacefully, in her sleep, at the Sterling Mansion. Her final painting hung in Nathan and Lily's new home. Nathan and Lily dancing in a garden, colors bright and joyful. She had left it to them with a note. This is how I want to be remembered. Watching you dance. The funeral had been small, intimate, at Forest Hill Cemetery, right beside Richard's grave. Nathan had cried openly. No shame, no walls, and Lily had held him. Vanessa had tried to attend. Nathan had security turn her away. The board had voted her out 2 months ago. Sterling Industries had bought Blackwood Development. She had tried to sue, lost spectacularly. Last Lily heard, Vanessa had moved to New York, tail between her legs. Good riddance. Nathan and Lily had gotten married 2 weeks after Margaret passed. Small ceremony. Forest Hills Cemetery, right there between the graves of Nathan's parents, scattering some of Margaret's ashes in the garden she had loved. Tommy had officiated. Mrs. Monroe had sung a jazz standard from her performing days. 20 people who mattered. No press, no photographers, no society guests, just love. Now Lily looked around Bluebird one last time. This place had saved her, given her purpose when she had none, family when she was alone, and brought her Nathan. Her phone buzzed. Text from her husband. Ready when you are. Our future is waiting. Lily smiled, grabbed her jacket, walked out of Bluebird Diner for the last time as an employee. But she would be back, as a customer, as family. Some stories don't end, they just transform into something new. 6 months after the wedding, Sunday morning at Anderson's Cafe. Through the window, passersby could see a couple working together. The woman was making coffee, pouring it with practiced precision, her brown hair pulled back, green eyes bright with happiness. The man sat at a corner table, sketching architectural plans, dark hair falling across his forehead, occasionally looking up to watch his wife work. They moved in perfect synchronization, years of practice, a dance they had perfected. Lily caught Nathan staring, smiled. What? Just thinking, his voice was warm. About the day I walked into Bluebird with 20 SUVs, thinking I could control everything. Lily laughed, crossed to him, slid into his lap. And instead you found a waitress who wouldn't take your money. Nathan pulled her close. I found the woman who saved my life, who taught me to feel again, who made me remember what matters. His kiss was soft, familiar. Home. Lily looked at her ring, still amazed sometimes that this was real. We saved each other, she said. That's what love does. The door opened. Mrs. Monroe entered, now a regular. She sang at Anderson's every Friday night, jazz standards that made everyone stop and listen. Tommy followed. He and Nathan had become unlikely friends. Golf buddies, both men learning that family comes in unexpected forms. The cafe filled with laughter, with warmth, with community. Everything Lily had dreamed when she was just a waitress counting tips. On the wall hung a photo from opening day. Nathan and Lily, both wearing aprons, arms around each other, laughing. Text beneath read, "Where Love Begins. Bluebird Diner, South Boston. Where It Grew, Forest Hills Cemetery. Where It Lives. Anderson's Cafe, Jamaica Plain." Nathan had wanted to add one more line. Lily had stopped him. "The story isn't finished yet," she had said. "Let's see where it goes." And so they did. Together, building a life that honored the past while embracing the future. Sterling Industries thrived under Nathan's leadership, but he left work at 6 now, every day, spent evenings with his wife, weekends volunteering at youth centers in South Boston, using his wealth to create opportunities for kids like Lily had been, kids who deserve second chances. Lily ran her cafe, but she also went back to school. MIT had welcomed her back. Part-time, finishing what she had started, mechanical engineering degree, at 30 years old, better late than never. They were happy, not perfect. They still fought sometimes, still struggled with balancing work and life. But they faced it together, with honesty, with love, with the fierce determination that had brought them through darkness into light. As the sun set over Jamaica Plain, casting Anderson's Cafe in golden light, Lily Anderson Sterling looked at her husband, the man who had arrived in her life with 20 black SUVs and a wall around his heart, the man she had fought for, loved fiercely, never given up on. And she knew. Some love stories are written in boardrooms and mansions. Others are written in diners and cemeteries. The best ones are written in the space between, where two wounded people find each other and choose love every single day, no matter what. The end.